Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the football betting series here on YouTube Premier League edition. Things are going pretty well in April. Our record stands at 20 wins, 9 losses and 2 pushes and a monthly profit of £111.40. When we add that to the overall record, the series stands at 171 wins with 72 losses and 24 pushes and a total series profit of £860.75. I've got 3 picks in today's episode, so if you think I'm talking some sense, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. Without further ado, let's get into it. We kick things off with a Saturday lunchtime game as 7th place Aston Villa play host to 8th place Fulham. Aston Villa played Manchester City in their last Premier League game, and Bernardo Silva got the citizens off to a fast start with his goal in the 7th minute. However, not too soon thereafter, Ruben Diaz would bring down Jacob Ramsey in the penalty box to hand Marcus Rashford the opportunity to equalise, and he took it with full aplomb, levelling the scores at 1-1 going into the interval. And from this point on, the game would settle down in terms of intensity, and when we take a look at the second half statistics, we can see that Manchester City did start to get on top of the game. They won out in most win predictor statistics, so perhaps it was merited when in the 94th minute, Matheus Nunes met Doku's low-driven cross to earn all 3 points at the death, with the final score seeing City win 2-1. In terms of form, that defeat for Aston Villa did put an end to a 5-game winning streak, and they have lost both of their last 2 games across all competitions. They host a Fulham side who played Southampton in their last match, and they found themselves going behind thanks to a Southampton set piece. Jack Stevens flicked his header past a stranded Bert Leno to hand the Saints an opening goal. Emil Smith-Rowe then found a leveller for Fulham as his shot deflected off the oncoming defender Jan Bednarek, saw the ball lifted over Ramsdale in the 72nd minute. Then the Cottagers would go on to take all 3 points during stoppage time, as Traore's cross was met by the onrushing Sessegnon as his header found the back of the net to hand Fulham a 2-1 victory. In terms of form, that win did break up a 2-game losing streak for Fulham, and it puts them in touching distance of European football for next year. When we take a look at the head-to-head records, the reverse fixture between these sides saw Aston Villa pick up the win. It was Raul Jimenez that opened the scoring for Fulham after 5 minutes, but 4 minutes later, Morgan Rogers would level the scores. From here on out in the second half, Villa would score 2 more times, courtesy of an Ollie Watkins strike and a Diop own goal, for a 3-1 final score. That win for Aston Villa would extend their winning streak over Fulham to 4 matches in a row. My prediction for today's game is that form is patchy for both sides, so I do find it hard to pick one team over the other. As we know, the end of the season is approaching and both sides still have an outside shout of obtaining European football. If both sides can finish in their current league positions and some English clubs can do well in the UEFA competitions, then perhaps both 7th and 8th could see a Europa League or a Conference League spot. As such, both sides are going to be looking to finish strong this season, which means we're looking at goals. Aston Villa have seen both teams to score in 3 of their last 4 Premier League games, and in their home games, each of the last 9 Premier League matches have seen both teams scoring. Whereas Fulham, they've seen both teams to score in 4 of their last 5 Premier League matches, and also in 4 of their last 5 road matches as well. When we take a look at the head-to-head record, each of the last 3 encounters have seen both teams find the back of the net. Therefore, I'm going to back both teams to score for a full stake here in bet number 1. Our second selection sees 19th place Leicester City playing host to 20th place Southampton. And Leicester City really didn't put up too much of a fight in their last match against Wolves. Matheus Cunha scored after 33 minutes with contributions from Jurgen Strand-Larsen and Gomez in the second period for a really convincing 3-0 win for Wolves. The one nearly highlight for Leicester came when Jamie Vardy had a penalty in the 72nd minute, but his effort was ultimately saved by Jose Sarr to really give the Foxes no hope of a comeback. In terms of form, Leicester have now lost back-to-back games and they're in the middle of a massive 11-game winless streak in the Premier League, with 10 of these 11 results being losses. They host a Southampton side who put up a bit of a better fight against Fulham in their last match. They took the lead through Jack Stevens' header, and this was the centre-back's first goal in around 5 years. However, the second half would see Fulham turn the scores around, first through a fortunate deflection by Emil Smith-Rowe to level the scores, before Sessegnon found the winning goal in stoppage time, the final score ending 2-1 to Fulham. In terms of form, it's now no win in 10 for Southampton, with 8 of these games being losses. When we take a look at the head-to-head record, these sides last faced on Matchday 8 back in October. Cameron Archer got the Saints off to a great start with his opening goal after just 8 minutes, and then Joe Aribo doubled the lead for Southampton to make it 2-0 at half-time. However, it seemed that the switch was flipped at half-time for Leicester as they threw caution to the wind and went on to dominate the second period in every major win predictor statistic in search of the comeback. Facundo Buonanotte found the first goal for Leicester in the 64th minute, and then when Ryan Fraser was sent off for a denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity, Jamie Vardy was handed a chance to level from the penalty spot, and he did so. And it appeared the scores were going to finish 2-2. However, deep in stoppage time, Jordan Ayew scored the winner in the 98th minute. The striker was left unmarked at the edge of the penalty box from a corner kick, and his strike squirmed past Ramsdale to snatch all 3 points right at the end of the game. This result would actually lift Leicester City to the heady heights of 14th place in the Premier League table after just 8 games played. But we all know how this season's going to end for both of these sides. Longer term, that win for Leicester did add to a 3-game winning streak over Southampton. That includes the 2 games in the Championship last year as well. My prediction for this game is going to come with a pinch of salt here. Both sides are now officially relegated to the Championship, and they'll have one eye on preparation for next season. I think this will afford a lot of players some freedom, and I think we're going to see much more of a basketball-like match, with both sides not really fearing the consequences of what another loss could look like for them. And that's why I like goals in this game. Leicester have seen over 2.5 goals in 3 of their last 4 Premier League matches, and also in 3 of their last 4 games at the King Power. Whereas Southampton, they have also seen over 2.5 goals in 3 of their last 4 games, and in 7 of their last 8 away matches. When we take a look at the head-to-head record, each of the last 3 encounters between these sides have seen over 2.5 goals. So we've built quite a strong case for over 2.5 goals here, but as both sides are officially relegated, there is an air of unpredictability around this game. That means I'm only going to back this selection for a half stake in bet number 2. Our third and final selection in today's episode sees 17th place West Ham playing host to 16th place Tottenham Hotspurs. West Ham were bested by Brighton in their last game, as Ayari lit up what was a pretty slow first half with his shots from outside of the box. He lifted the ball high over the goalkeeper as it dipped just below the crossbar to hand the Seagulls a lead after just 13 minutes. It would remain 1-0 at half-time, but just 3 minutes into the second period, Kudus would then nutmeg the goalkeeper to draw the Hammers level. Souček then went on from this position to take West Ham's first lead of the game in the 83rd minute, nodding home Jared Bowen's delivery. However, the game was far from over. Kairo Mitoma would step up in the 89th minute as the smallest man in the box won a header in the 6-yard box to level up the scores once again at 2-2. But in the 93rd minute, Balbea did his best impression of Ayari's first goal and let fly from well outside of the box. His shot would find the back of the net to steal the winner and steal all 3 points for Brighton, with the final scores finishing 3-2. In terms of form, it is now no win in 7 Premier League matches for West Ham, but thankfully the 3 sides below them have been nowhere near the pace for this season, and the Irons are safe for another year. They host a Spurs side who played Liverpool in their last game. A win for the Reds would see them secure the title, but Dominic Solanke managed to dampen the mood somewhat as he opened the scoring early on in that game. However, Liverpool refused to have their parade rained on. Diaz, McAllister and Gakpo would all score in the first half to put Liverpool in a great spot. Then Mo Salah would add his goal around the hour mark to really get the party started. Udogie would then be unfortunate in conceding an own goal, with the final scores ending 5-1 to Liverpool. When we take a look at the numbers, we can see that Spurs were thoroughly outclassed in this one, Liverpool the deserving winners and the deserving champions for this season. In terms of form for Spurs, it's 3 losses in a row in the Premier League, a recent poor run of form which has seen both Everton and Wolves overtaking them, resulting in the 16th place finish ahead of this game. When we take a look at the head-to-head record, the previous encounter between these sides saw Spurs pick up a fairly convincing win. However, it was West Ham that took the lead through Mohamed Kudus, with Kulusevski levelling the affair up in the 36th minute. From here on out, Spurs would blitz West Ham in an 8-minute period. They scored 3 times between the 52nd and 60th minute, with goal contributions from Bissouma, Son and an Areola own goal, for a final score of 4-1. Number-wise, we can see that Spurs did deserve the win. They took more of the ball, had double the amount of shots and over double the amount of XG generated in the game. Longer term between these sides, it has been pretty mixed. Each of the last 3 Premier League results have seen Spurs pick up a win, West Ham pick up a win, and there's been a draw in there as well. My prediction for today's game is that with both sides safe from relegation, there's really nothing left for West Ham to play for this season in the league. The same is also true for Spurs, however they do have the Europa League tie against Bodo Glimt, and they're going to have one eye on the European final. As such, I think that's going to result in a bit of rotation for Spurs in these league matches. And as such, I think this game, whilst a tad meaningless, will allow both managers to experiment, and I feel that will lead to mistakes and ultimately goals. West Ham have seen both teams to score in each of the last 4 Premier League games, and in both of their last 2 home games, whereas Spurs have seen both teams to score in each of the last 4 Premier League matches, and in 2 of their last 4 away games. When we take a look at the head-to-head record, both teams to score has come in each of the last 3, as well as 5 of the last 6 encounters between these sides. So with all of that in mind, I am going to back both teams to score, but only for a half stake here, due to the relatively meaningless nature of the game, and that's going to finish up today's episode. So there we have it, 3 picks in today's episode, starting off with Aston Villa versus Fulham. We're going to back both teams to score at odds of 1.69, a £40 full stake to return £27.60. Also on the Saturday, we have the relegation destined Leicester versus Southampton match. Over 2.5 goal is the pick, odds of 1.72, a £20 half stake to return £14.40. And wrapping up today's episode with the Sunday match, West Ham versus Spurs, I'm going to take both teams to score at odds of 1.48, a half stake of £20 to return £9.60. So, across the weekend, we're going to be risking £80 to hopefully pick up as much as £51.60. Will we do so? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to tune into the next episode. But if you have made it to this point in the video, please drop a like down below, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Don't forget to check out the continental picks in the pinned comment down below, and as always, have yourself a lovely day.